Stevie Nicol to talk more about what's going wrong at the bottom end of the table, particularly for Leeds United, Stevie.
Well, under Bielsa, they lost too many goals. Towards the end of last season in that relegation battle, they seem to have tightened things up under Jesse. But again today, you know, letting too many chances and too many goals in. They did score 2 goals. But I just wonder where the consistent goal scorer is for Leeds in particular. You know, for me, Bamford's not the answer. He had another chance today, that one-on-one with the keeper that he missed. It's, you know, last week I spoke about how Jesse will keep them going, keep them fired up. But right now, even though they're fired up, they're still not getting any points, and that's definitely worrying.
He gave an interview early in the season when actually Leeds were off the back of a couple of good performances and results.
Jesse Marsh.
And I remember watching a clip of it and thinking, I mean, it was all the usual rhetoric and about philosophies and this, and I thought, this is a long road. It was almost like, you know, everything was running so well and the train was going in the right direction, and I thought, we're a month into the season here at best. And you can be derailed in this league when you're one of the bottom half teams with the smaller squads in a flash. And they have. Stevie mentioned the goals. They cannot keep they barely ever keep a clean sheet. I mean, if you look at some of the goals today that they lost in this game, it was horrendous. Horrendous defending. And when you're down the bottom of the league, you really outscore teams. I mean, generally when you're down the bottom and you're fighting for your life, it's the odd clean sheet and scrap and draw that might get you out of it in the end, when it becomes tight in the last, say, 6 or 7 games, which we're miles away from. But they don't look as if they can do it.
Is he in trouble? Because we've already seen sackings.
Yeah, I mean, I think, in all fairness, I said it with Gerrard, you'd like to see these guys given a little bit more time, and so he's no different. However, it will be super fresh in the ownership's minds that they've just spent, not too long ago, the best part of 20 years out of this division. And it cost them financially, unbelievably. Go on, Stevie.
It's one thing. It's one thing when you've got talented players to get the sack, like Gerrard did at Villa. You know, he got the sack because he's bought players, he's got talented players, and they're just not producing results. And that's why he got the sack. There's no point in Jesse Marsh getting the sack, because he's working with what he's got. He's got players, he's got loads of players with plenty of desire. You know, players like Luke Ayling, for example, is a great example of a Leeds player. You talk about desire, heart, love for the club, will give his last breath. And they've got 4 or 5 players that are like that are starters. But unfortunately, they don't have that extra bit of quality, whether it's defending or attacking. You know, if you look along the whole back line, they've all got a mistake in them. So, you know, Jesse Marsh isn't the end. You know, he's not the problem. Quite frankly, it's the squad they have. They don't have a particular quality or enough quality, both going forward and defensively, that they're going to win regularly. That's not to do with Jesse Marsh. Jesse Marsh can organise them. He can get them going. You know, he can do a lot of things. But what he can't do is get players who don't have a certain ability to do it. Coaches don't have magic wands. So I don't actually think the problem's Jesse Marsh. And quite frankly, if they were to get rid of him, I don't think anybody else coming in is going to change anything. It's about heart and desire. They've got loads of it. They just don't have the quality. And it'll depend on the other teams around them who are struggling as well, whether they have more heart and desire than Leeds. Because that's probably what it's going to boil down to.
But just briefly before we go, I wonder whether, and I agree, I mean, it runs deeper than that. But he might have to change the way he goes about trying to play to get a result. And if he doesn't, he'll probably be out. And I'm wondering with the likes of, and it's not some Leeds fans would probably want to hear. It's a completely different change of strategy. But when you what?
Go on.
I'm going to say somebody like Sean Dyche.
I knew you were going to say Sean Dyche.
Because primarily when you start thinking about the hundreds of millions that you might use, that you might lose with relegation and what that looks like, you start looking around at people that can come in. How do we get points? How do we keep a clean sheet? How do we get organised? And all of a sudden you chuck out all the philosophy that you've had to try and get a short-term resolution. And that's what Leeds may have to do in the end.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.